Oh, from that angle, it just looks terrible. We have to blur that out. Can't be showing. Well, it wouldn't be bestiality because it's two beasts. It's two animals.
That's what.
Chicken and the beast.
Just call that nature.
Just call that nature. The 27 Club. Put some music in there. Ah!
Oh.
Like I'm in my... So, the 27 Club consists of many, many members.
How many members?
There's if you go with just musicians, it's a handful. If you go with like actors and comedians and shit like that, it's just a laundry list.
Laundry list.
But it is a club that consists of people, famous people, that have died at the age of 27.
Yep, 28 now, so...
I know. We surpassed.
We surpassed it.
So, but they did a study in Great Britain in 2011, because one scientist wanted to see how freakishly that number was. And there wasn't too much difference between people of that nature dying at 25 or dying at 32. So he just, like, killed everybody's dreams. They're like, oh, it's 27. He's like, well, if you look here, look at the numbers. It seems like 25 and 32 year olds the same dying rate.
Oh, so we still gotta get past 30.
We gotta get past. We're just a statistic. Do you want to be a survivor or a statistic?
Oh, I'll be a statistic.
1,000 ways to die. But so there's been many conspiracies surrounding this. It contains a bunch of people. First one being Robert Johnson. You know who Robert? I had to explain to you who he was. They have a documentary on Netflix. Well, they re-released the documentary on Netflix, which was cool.
Well, what about these people? They don't know who Robert Johnson.
Robert Johnson. Go to your phone and search Robert Johnson. He's the first, like, mainstream blues person, the master of the blues, which was weird. This is how the old theory came that he sold his soul to the devil, and he died at 27, because he used to go to all these juke joints.
Juke joints,
like little, I don't know, little bars in the 30s, or before that, like the 20s, down Mississippi, down in Hazelhurst.
Yeah, old Mississippi.
Anyway, he would go there and watch the guys play, because there would just be like two guys on the stage. So one would play. They play different tones so they could feed off each other, but that would be about it.
Yeah.
So he'd go there, and after they were done, he'd fuck around the guitars, and everybody would be like, God, get that kid off the stage. He can't play worth shit, hurting our ears. So he disappeared. They kicked him out of the one. He disappeared for like a year. And he came back. And he picked up a guitar. And he was just playing like nobody ever heard before. Mm. So he never said about where he went or where he was hiding. Nobody's seen him for a year. There was a bunch of theories that he got somebody to teach him playing guitar. And back in that day, they said you had to go play at the graveyard at midnight just to feel the blues. If you were surrounded by damn spirits and you feel their pain and harness the blues.
Spirits.
But the theory that took off was that he went to the crossroads at midnight on a full moon.
Who came up with this theory, though?
I don't know. That's the only way they could explain it. They're like, how do you get that good in a year? From not being able to even properly hold a guitar to go down to the crossroads. Yeah. That he went to the crossroads and he met this giant man down there who claims was the devil. This isn't from him. This is from, I don't know who started this first theory of this. Handed the devil his guitar and he tuned it. And he said, I'll give you the power to play this. And blah, blah. I handed it back to him and that was it. He went on his way and he could play the guitar like none other.
Like none other.
And then he was a drinker. So they'd go to they'd be at the juke joints. He'd buy a bottle. And apparently the one day he went to buy a bottle and the seal was broke. And somebody tried to stop him and said, Robert, you don't ever drink out of a bottle with the seal broke. And he's like, motherfucker, I'm fine. Well, I hear that he was fooling around with one of the barkeep's ladies and they poisoned it. They don't know who exactly poisoned it. And he died like 4 days later of poison at the old age of 27.
The old age.
I was watching an interview with a guy. He goes, I know what happened to Robert. Ain't nobody poisoning him. The devil came to collect. The devil came, and then after that, he became big. There was a promoter that wanted to get like all these blues performers because nobody up north knew about what was going on in the blues. And he was trying to get the best, and the only thing they could have, they had a couple recordings of him that they played. So he became mainstream, but after he died. So that's how the devil gets you. Oh, you want to be famous? Okay. Then you die, and then you become famous.
Is that what happened to all the painters too?
Robert Johnson. Oh, the who?
All the painters.
Painters, yeah.
They never
I don't
died,
know.
but they
They
only get famous after they die.
big, super famous. And then, so that list has a bunch of people. It started with him, then it goes down to include everybody like Janis Joplin, Jim Morrison, Jimi Hendrix. Most recent one, Amy Winehouse, where she said she was terrified. She just had a bad feeling about the age of 27. And then she died of an overdose.
Well, why would you be putting yourself in jeopardy?
I don't fucking know. So that's where the theory comes from. That these people sold their soul to the devil, or made a deal with the devil, to get fame and fortune, and then... Well, the problem is you get cut short.
What if he just, like, puts you into, like, a different body?
Like reincarnates you.
Yeah. And you just live out your life knowing that your old self was famous.
That'd be nuts. So you'd be like, fame and fortune, but nobody can ever be recognized for it.
Yep.
Maybe that's why some people fake their deaths.
I wrote that song.
But yeah, so like most of them have to do drug related, like Hendrix, like Jim Morrison. He was the one that they found in the bathtub. Like, so that was all through the 60s and 70s. From Robert Johnson died in 38, but Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Jim Morrison, all those were the 60s, 70s. That was that big spurt. Everybody's like, all these people died. And they were all within like 2-3 years of each other at the age of 27.
Jeez.
We got to think how big drugs were in the 60s and 70s. Of they're brand new, well, newer, became mainstream.
Brand new, hot off the press.
No, LSD didn't take off till like the 60s and that. People making that and heroin and all that. So they're like, oh, yeah.
It's just the way he said it. It was funny.
Oh, Hendrix died of, they classified it, they did his autopsy as choking on his own vomit.
Oh, nice.
Because I don't know, they said he was all hopped up. I'm not sure what he was hopped up on, if it would be heroin. But whoever, the lady he was with woke up in the middle of the night and realized he was like very little breathing. And by the time they got into the hospital, he passed. So they were saying that, they could have saved him, but they didn't because he was for the hippies.
He was for the hippies. They just let him drown on his throw up.
Fucking terrible.
Yeah.
The original leader of the Rolling Stones, Brian Jones, he died at 27. Then it kind of died off. Nobody really talked about it until Kurt Cobain did it in 94. Which is still, they don't know. Do you think it was a conspiracy? Do you think he shot himself? Or do you think she had him shot?
I don't know.
See? He signed a deal with the devil.
Maybe.
It's fucking how 94, 04, 20-some years later, 25 years later, Nirvana still as relevant as it was in the 90s.
Yep.
So if you're going to sell your soul to the devil, make sure you get the fine print in the contract.
Yeah.
I want to be super famous. I want to live to the ripe old age of like 80-some. I want to make sure I don't have any illnesses. Everybody I know is taken care of. Everybody is well. Mr. Devil, you got to go with like a book like this.
Yeah.
Mr. Devil.
Mr. Devil.
Hire 3 lawyers. Go down to the crossroads.
I got a proposition for you.
But the crossroads are still there. They got a big sign hanging. Like, this is where Robert Johnson sold his soul.
This is where he sold his soul.
Apparently, I don't know if people still go there. I'm sure there's a couple crazy people who go there.
Oh,
Like,
oh.
I'm not going to fucking go there. Because my luck, this shit be true.
Go there and
I'll be like,
sacrifice a cat or something.
well, I'm here. It's the full moon. I turn around. Just, no, who the fuck are you?
How you summon the devil?
What do you have to offer me? I don't know why he sounds like he's Antonio Banderas.
Give me my mission.
I don't know what you need, but I will make your wildest dreams come true. Somebody's like, I want to be you. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
I cannot do that.
I cannot do that.
You said you can do anything. No, this is not how this fucking works. Bad deals with the devil. I want you to be my slave. No, I cannot do fuck.
Ooh.
So yeah, that's about all we could find on 27 Club. There isn't too much. Other than that conspiracy. People just brush it under the rug.
So it was one dude in the 30s and then like 7 people in the 70s.
Yep. Right between that,
High
like
on
69,
the
like 73. And then
Kurt Cobain just
there's a
got
couple people between there, but nobody super mainstream.
struck out with a
And then Cobain did
shitty
it.
person.
And then the most recent, Amy Winehouse.
Amy Winehouse.
The 27 Club. We survived.